What's up everyone? We're back today with another video, this time about some tips and tricks related to combat to improve your play in Naraka Bladepoint. I'm going to go over some mechanics and ideas that you could use in combat in this video. I wasn't really going to include individual weapon attack combos or anything like that, because I feel as if that could fill an entire video in itself. It also seems like at the moment, there's being new combos pretty much being made all the time. That being said, there's still plenty of things that this game's combat involves other than just attack combination. So let's get straight into the first piece of knowledge for today's video, which has to do with the rarity of your weapon. Item rarity in Naraka Bladepoint has two different effects on the weapons. It affects the durability of the weapon, and more importantly, the damage. The differences in weapon rarity are something that should not be overlooked in my opinion, as the difference in damage can be quite large depending on the rarity difference. For example, the Great Katana does 96 damage on a normal horizontal slash, whereas the Legendary Katana does 153. The Great Longsword at 108 damage, meanwhile the Legendary at 172. The Great Sword, 290, while the Legendary does a massive 464 with a single horizontal slash. Now when I break out my handy dandy computer calculator here and perform some quick maths, that ends up being a 62.7% damage increase. Now which would you prefer, rare or legendary? I sure as hell know my choice. The next thing I'd like to go over is the different types of dodging in Naraka, as they are used for different scenarios and do different things. There's both tap dodging and short or normal dodges, whichever you like to call it. This is a tap dodge. Tap dodging is the mechanic of inputting a direction you'd like to go along with a quick tap of the dodge key rather than holding the key down. This allows you to make a super fast and long dodge animation which has plenty of iframes in it. Tap dodging is one of the most reliable ways to avoid certain mechanics or to be able to get out of certain combinations when stuck in them. The short dodge is a mechanic that can be used really well with certain weapons like the longsword or the spear to lock down opponents while staying on the move. This can be done while holding the dodge and direction input key temporarily after each attack animation rather than just tapping it, as tapping it will do a tap dodge of course, locking you into the longer animation rather than letting you quickly attack again afterwards. The inputs should look something similar to this. There are two different dodges, useful for different situations. Another important thing to do in Naraka is to stay on the move when healing. But when healing in this game, your movement is greatly hindered. You can't sprint forward any longer, you can't dodge or doing anything like that while continuing to heal, meaning that your character is just a slow moving hitbox that's standing straight up. A pretty easy target, no? To circumvent this, most players will spam crouch while healing, which slightly increases your movement speed and ducks your head down repeatedly, making your hitbox a bit harder of a target to hit or shoot at. Nothing major, but it's one of the small things that could be life or death sometimes, and I mean might be the difference between you winning or losing a game. The next step I have for you guys is a tip that most people have probably heard plenty of times if you've listened to streams or listened to anyone else play the game, but if you haven't, well then here it is again. Use crouch to cancel combinations and mix up the enemy. Every weapon combination in Naraka Bladepoint has a 3-attack combo with 2 light attacks and then the third attack being a charge focus attack in the combo. The only exception being the Great Sword, where the charged attack comes in on the second rather than the third in the chain. Most good players will realize if you're just simply spamming the same 3-attack combo repeatedly and they'll parry you, because it's a very predictable parry when you know it's coming as a focus attack after the second attack every single time. You just know it's coming, they go bing bam, 2 attacks, you just know to parry right now. In order to be less predictable and throw off the opponent, you can animation cancel midway through the attack combo using crouch to do the first 2 attacks on the combination and then not get stuck in the focus animation, allowing you to continue doing light attacks or uppercuts or to switch up the combination in general. Scale rushing has a couple of different uses when it comes to combat in Naraka. You could scale rush to use a super strong charged attack that you could then use to attack an enemy from a decent distance away, and then depending on your hero's skill setup and a weapon setup, you could do some major damage, almost even one-shotting some opponents. Like, check out this damage. Now you can't tell me that that shit didn't hit like a truck. I mean, you can, but you'd be lying. Now the base idea of the scale rush is that it's just a long distance lunged attack, but along those same lines, you could use that long distance lunge that the scale rush gives you to relocate quickly in a fight, heal, reset, or even run away or juke the opponent. Scale rushing should not be slept on, as it has a variety of different uses. Similar to the earlier tip of using crouch to animation cancel and mix up the opponent, one of the most crucial aspects to combat in Naraka, especially at the higher levels, is mix-ups and the ability to play some sort of mind games with the enemy. When it comes to using focus attacks, you do not always need to release the attack once you hear the noise indicating the charge is ready, nor do you always need to hold your focus attack charge as long as possible. Mix it up a bit. You could release it right off the rip, you could hold it a bit, you could hold it halfway through, you can not even charge it up all the way and release a light attack halfway through, gaining the stagger protection from the focus aura. Read your opponent, see how he's parrying, see when he parries, see if he's parrying at all. Some people forget it exists. It's all about figuring out what moves will and will not work against the person you're fighting currently. Not every person you're fighting will the same tactic work against. Speaking of using the focus aura to gain stagger protection, that is our next tip. One of the most annoying things in Naraka is getting locked in the animation of being staggered or repeatedly grappled on and not being able to get away. Well, this is where using the blue aura of charging a focus attack comes in to help you. When you charge a focus attack, you gain a blue aura around your character, which in most cases at least, you can't be staggered during. You can use this to your advantage to avoid being completely stunned temporarily when grappled by an enemy, or use it to break an enemy combo and get an attack of your own in the case of you being comboed on. For example, if I'm being attacked by light attacks and I'm in the middle of a charge attack, I will not get staggered, and I will be able to get my attack off no matter what. When it comes to parrying, there is no quick, get good fast instantly tip. You need to practice and learn the timings of the different weapons in the game. Luckily, the free training mode has an option where you can set the bot to whatever weapon you wish to practice parrying. The bot will then go on attacking you with a couple of different combos to help you get the basic timing down. This won't make you the best at parrying in the world, as real players will tend to switch up the timing of their focus attacks and do some mix-ups with focus charges into light attacks. However, it will get you on the right track at least. Other than this, you will need to simply get in game, get some real in-game experience to be able to predict when and when not to parry. While Naraka Bladepoint is primarily a melee-oriented game, that does not mean that the ranged weapons in Naraka are bad or to be slept on by any means. While some of them are a bit more niche at times, the ranged weapons are, in my opinion at least, amazing third-party tools, or if you have a decent shot, great for finishing runners. Weapons like the bow and musket do a decent chunk of damage that you can perform from a very safe distance and end up cleaning up after fights. The stuff like the cannon and pistol, which hits like a truck by the way if you charge it up, are great for trying to third-party small groups fighting each other, as they have some spread AoE damage and can damage multiple people at once while not needing perfect aim. The final thing I have for you guys today is just a couple different tricks to avoid a few different ults in the game. When you're being ulted by a Viper, The only real way to break the link is to either get out of range, which can be kind of difficult depending on your class or depending on your situation at the time, or to break visibility with Viper. There's a few ways to go about breaking visibility. You can get out of LOS, like just running behind a building or something of the sorts. Or another thing you could do is find some of the red bushes around the map and crouch inside them. Crouching inside these bushes grants the user invisibility, and the invisibility will then break you out of the Viper ult, similar to a Matari ult. Avoiding a Yodo ult is actually relatively easy, as her ult only hits stuff on the same plane as her. So the best thing to do against the Yodo ult is to gain verticality. If you have trees around you or something like that, just climb the tree, and her ult literally can't touch you. To beat the TN High Titan ultimate, well, to be honest, you don't. This thing's just the bane of my existence in the final circle, and yeah, screw that guy. And on that note, if you're still here at this point in the video, I'd like to thank you for sticking it out and watching all the way to the end. If you found any of the information in this video useful or helpful, please hit that like and subscribe button. Let me know in the comments below if you have any questions, know of any other things that help you when you're fighting in Naraka, or if you have any other video ideas. And I will see you guys on the battlefield. Peace!